From Australia, Malaysia,
Yeah,
Singapore.
just came from a tour of Australia, Malaysia, Singapore, and Prabhu is regular list of all the countries. Everyone loves Vyasaki Prabhu. And we are grateful to His Grace Mukundata Prabhu to be here. Prabhu is also very dear disciple of our dear founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Mukundata Prabhu this is good learning for Indians. Prabhu came to India and learned Sanskrit. He is scholar, professor of Sanskrit. He is known to translate Sanskrit to English. Prabhu is an editor of PPT and has served for many years for GBC Shastric Advisory Committee. And he has translated Gopi Pranadhan Prabhu's work and still is working on Sandarbhas to translate. So we are grateful to Mukundata Prabhu. He is very sweet Kirtaniya. He is a musician. Mukundata Prabhu is a musician. And we can see 3 ISKCON world's best singers and musicians sitting right here. So what else we can desire for today? Understand the Brahmotsav. Haribol! And Mukundata Prabhu is very proficient and expert in deity worshipping skills also. And he can speak English as good as Sanskrit and Hindi. So he surprised you when he speaks in Hindi or Sanskrit. So thank you very much Mukundata Prabhu for being here. And Prabhu is very kind and regular speaker of energy classes of Bhaktivedanta Academy. Thank you very much. And of course we have our host, our guide, our mentor, our spiritual father, and visionary and founder of this ISKCON NOIDA Temple Bhaktivedanta Academy, His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj. Lokanath Maharaj had a vision.
That's enough.
Okay, that's enough. Maharaj says, obey to Maharaj's order. So today we have limited time, but we have unlimited nectar sitting right here. So let's see how much we can drink in limited time till 9:30. And I welcome Srila Chaitanya Maharaj, and I would like to invite Radhe Shaman Maharaj also, if he's around. Shaman, yes. So I request to start this wonderful interactive session by Vyasaki Prabhu. Vyasaki Prabhu, if you could kindly give them your insight. What motivated to be in this movement for 50 years and still counting? You know, the love for Prabhupada you have. We want to learn how can we develop that love. And please limit your talk to 10 to 12 minutes. Then Mukundata Prabhu can speak for 10 to 12 minutes about his experiences and realization with Prabhupada. Then we have advertised question and answer session. Second half we will have question and answer.
Yeah, first half they will talk.
First half we have small talks and then warm up the environment. And devotees distributing slips. You can write your question on a piece of paper so to save time, and then we'll bring the basket to this spiritual body and they will give your answer. So we'll have Vyasaki Prabhu first to speak and then Mukundata Prabhu. Thank you very much Vyasaki Prabhu. Can someone help turn the mic on?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. So this is the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But recently in Russia, I heard someone say, this is the Sankirtan mission of Srila Prabhupada. And I was thinking, yes, ISKCON is the Sankirtan mission of Srila Prabhupada. And we are all the sadhus who are going out to distribute the blessings of Srila Prabhupada and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Prabhupada said that when we go out for book distribution or Harinam Sankirtan, we're going out as sadhus. We're delivering transcendental knowledge, transcendental message. And that is why We are following in the footsteps of one of the greatest preachers of all time, Srila Narada Muni, Narada Rishi. He travels all over the universe, going to different planets and different places to spread the glories of the holy name and the glories of Sri Bhagavan. But he became a little bit uncertain about his preaching because everywhere he went, everyone had a different idea who was Bhagavan. Maybe you also experienced that here in India. Some people think Shivji is Bhagavan. Some people worship Durgaji, some Ganapati, like this. So he decided, I have to find out definitively who is Swayam Bhagavan. And so where did he go? He went to see Brahmaji. And when he arrived, Brahma was so happy to see him. Narad, you have come, so wonderful. How can I serve you? And so Narad explained that everywhere people have different ideas who is Bhagavan. And I want to introduce them to the Swayam Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's why I have come to you, because you were there before the Srishti, before the creation. You were empowered by Bhagavan. So if anybody knows who is Bhagavan, you are knowing. So Lord Brahma was very pleased. Yes, thank you very much, Narad. I will be very happy to answer your question. And you listen carefully, and I will tell you who is the Bhagavan, the ultimate, one and only. And this is what he told Narad Rishi. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adi Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. That there are so many controllers, Ishvara, so many Ishwaras, but the Parameshwara, the Ishwara of all the other Ishwaras is Sri Krishna. And he is Satchit Ananda. He's eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss. Anadi, he's beginningless. But when he wants to begin, he picks up his flute, and as Govinda, he gives that transcendental sound vibration which entered into my ear, and it allowed me to create according to his instructions. So Narad was very happy. Oh, thank you so much. This solves all the difficulties. Now I can go and I can tell everyone that Sri Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan and nobody else. So Lord Brahma was very pleased. He said, so Narad, I'm so happy you've come here, and now I've fulfilled your desires. You're completely satisfied. And then Narad Muni said, well, actually, I have one more question. Oh, really? Yeah, I have one more question. Well, what is that question? Well, people want proof. I can just say Krishna's Bhagavan, but they want the proof. What proof can I give them so that their questions and their doubts will be finished forever? So Lord Brahma said, oh, this is a wonderful question, Narad. I'm very happy to answer this. And this is what you tell them. You tell them that I was in a room, and they're full of candles, but all the candles were unlit. And then all of a sudden, a door opened, and one candle who was lit came in and lit all the other candles. And then that original candle that lit all the other candles stood alongside all the other candles. So everyone who came after that, they thought it's all one. They're all the same. But I was there before, and I saw which candle lit all the other candles, and that was Sri Krishna. So Narad was very happy, and he was playing on his veena and dancing around. And Lord Brahma said, oh, I'm so grateful that you have come here and asked these wonderful questions, and I'm very happy that now I have satisfied you. You didn't waste your time coming here. And then Narada Muni said, well, actually, I do have one more question. Really? Well, what is that question? Well, if Krishna is the Bhagavan, the original devotion, supreme personality of Godhead, and we're all the conditioned souls, then how can we as conditioned souls connect to that supreme personality of Godhead? What method, what process is there that we can establish a relationship? And Lord Brahma was so happy. What a wonderful question. Narad, I am so happy to tell you. And you listen carefully, because here is the answer. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nascheva, 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 Gatiranyata. That there is no other way except by chanting the glories of the holy name of the Lord. So everybody knows the shloka, because you were all chanting with me. So in this shloka, it's the glorification and the emphasis that on the holy name is our only way to connect and establish a relationship with Sri Krishna. So how many times is that holy name repeated and emphasized in this shloka? He says 3. Any other answers? Well, the answer is 8 times. Let me go through it so you get it clearly, okay? Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, that's 3. Eva, Eva means certainly. Certainly means 100% guarantee. Is that an emphasis? 100% guarantee, so that's 4. Kevalam. Kevalam means only. Only means just this and nothing else. Is that an emphasis? 5. Then Nascheva, Nascheva, Nascheva. No other way, no other way, no other way. 8 times. And there's only 11 words in the shloka. So 80% of the shloka is emphasizing the holy name. So Narad Muni was so happy. He was dancing in ecstasy, jumping up and down. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And Lord Brahma was very, very pleased. So he said, Narad, you have made my day. Of course, Lord Brahma's day is very long. So when he says you've made my day, it means you've made me very happy for a long period. And I'm so glad that now, finally, I have satisfied you. So then Narada said, well, actually, I do have one more question. One more question? What is that question? So then Narada said, well, who is qualified to chant this holy name of the Lord, to establish a relationship? What is the qualification? So Lord Brahma said, Narada, this is a wonderful question. I love your questions. You are very thoughtful. You are the real bhakta. So listen carefully while I tell you what is the qualification. There is no qualification. It's open for everyone, whether you're man or woman, black or white, religious or atheist, educated or uneducated, rich or poor, fat or thin, married or unmarried. Doesn't matter. There's no qualification. It's open for everybody. So Narad Rishi, he was so happy and he was dancing in ecstasy. He offered his Dandavat pranams to Brahmaji. And then he went out preaching again and he wrote the Narada Bhakti Sutras. And these Narada Bhakti Sutras was the basis and the foundation for Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya's mission, the basis and foundation was given by 2 great personalities. The first personality was Narada Muni. And the second great personality was Prahlada Maharaja. Of all the cantos in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the one part of the Bhagavatam that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relished the most was the prayers and the Leela of Prahlada Maharaj. He loved Prahlada Maharaj. That Prahlada Maharaj could never forget Krishna even for one instant. He was always thinking of him. And Prahlada Maharaj is considered, out of the Navavidhi Bhakti, the 9 processes of devotional service, one personality stands out for each of those processes, and Prahlada Maharaj stands out for smaranam, remembrance. He always remembered the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He never forgot, even in the most difficult situations. The Supreme Lord was there always to protect him. And he was protected by Sri Narasingha Bhagavan, a form of the Lord that had never been seen before, a form of the Lord that only manifested to protect Prahlada Maharaj. And smaranam, the perfection of smaranam is Prahlada Maharaj. He always remembered. And what is smaranam? Well, first there's shravanam. Then there's kirtanam. When the shravanam becomes part of you, and the kirtanam becomes resident in your heart, then there is smaranam. If the shravanam and the kirtanam are good, then there will be smaranam. But if the shravanam is bad, and the kirtanam is not good, then there will be no smaranam. So shravanam and kirtanam are prerequisites to smaranam, coming to the level of always understanding and remembering that the Lord is our protector. And Sri Krishna, he mentions this in Srimad Bhagavatam. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Whenever there is a rise of adharma and a decrease in dharma, at that time I advent myself. And how do we know how Krishna's adventing? He says so in the next shloka. Paritranaya sadhunam nivinashaya chaduskritam. This is exactly the one leela of Narasingha Bhagavan, to protect the devotees and annihilate the demons. So we should always remember to follow in the footsteps of Prahlada Maharaj and Narada Rishi. Prahlada Maharaj never, ever forgot the Lord. And he was 100% following Shastra. And who was his guru? Narada Rishi. We see the connection. And then when we have the 12 Mahajans, again is Prahlada Maharaj there. He's one of the 12 Mahajans also. And not only that, but his grandson, Bali Maharaj, is also one of the Mahajans. So the parampara coming through the line of Prahlada Maharaj, there's 2 Mahajans, Prahlad and Bali Maharaj, because they always remembered the Lord, even though they were born in the demon class, which gives us very much inspiration, because we're also products of the demon class in the Western countries. But we were saved by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. So I'm just going to take one more minute and give you an example of how exalted Prahlada Maharaj was. That Prahlada Maharaj could not be killed by all of the attempts by Hiranyakashipu. Tried to kill him again and again, could not do it. And Hiranyakashipu became bewildered. He said, I did so much tapasya that I could never be killed. But it seems that Prahlada Maharaj has got that benediction. So he said to his 2 of his topmost guards, he says, look, here's what we'll do. You take Prahlada up to the top of the mountain and you throw him off the mountain. Now there's no way he can be saved. So they took Prahlada and they were climbing up the mountain. The 2 guards were a little older. They were having some difficulty. Prahlada was a young boy. He was going very happily up the mountain ahead of them. Come, come. And when he got to the top, he said, okay, now you push me off. And the guards, they couldn't do it. They offered their obeisances. They said, you are so exalted. You're so fearless. You're such a great devotee of the Supreme Lord. We can't push you off. And Prahlada Maharaja says, but you must. Well, why? Because you're servants of the king, and he told you to push me off, and a servant always obeys the order of the master. So even in that unusual situation, Prahlada Maharaj always followed the Shastra. So they didn't want to do it. But one of the guards went, he just touched Prahlad like this, and then Prahlad fell. And he was falling faster and faster, and the earth was rising up quicker and quicker. At any moment, it was going to be, he would be finished. And Prahlada Maharaj is thinking, oh, my Lord is waiting till the last second to save me. Not even any doubt up to the last second. And at the last second, the Lord captures him, Sri Vishnu. Just 2 meters above the ground. And he's there in the lotus hands of the Lord. And the Lord is telling him how happy he is with Prahlada Maharaj's dedication, his bhakti. He's so pleased with him, and there's a beautiful exchange of sweet words and love. Meanwhile, the 2 guards are coming down the mountain, and they get to the bottom, and they see Prahlada Maharaj suspended in a bed of lotus flowers, 2 meters above the ground. They didn't see Lord Vishnu's hands because they're obviously demons. But what they saw was lotus flowers, Prahlada Maharaj. So they offered their obeisances like this. So I'm telling you these pastimes because we are also meant to be sadhus. We are meant to distribute transcendental knowledge, but not just distribute transcendental knowledge, to become the living truth of that knowledge. I'll take 30 seconds to just give one more Prabhupada Leela. When I was living in Mumbai, in that time it was called Bombay, in Juhu. So one Sunday, many Indian ladies and gentlemen came for the class. So Prabhupada announced to us that today I will speak in Hindi because so many guests have come. So I was thinking, I don't understand Hindi. So I got up to leave. And Prabhupada said, no, you please stay. Even though you don't understand the language, the sound vibration is purifying. So I sat down and got purified by the sound vibration. So the sound vibration is purifying. Purifying means that we live the shlokas. Then at the end of that class, one gentleman stood up, and in English, he said, Swamiji, I can recite the entire Bhagavad Gita by heart in 1 hour. And he looked at us Westerners. So Prabhupada said, that's all right, but can you live the Bhagavad Gita for just 1 hour, like they are doing? And that's when I realized it's not just memorizing shlokas, we have to live these shlokas. And this is how we become sadhus. And then we go out and we're representing Prabhupada and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prahlada Maharaj, Narada Rishi, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vyaski Prabhu. So please allow me to request His Grace Mukundata Prabhu to kindly enlighten us with some more Prabhupada Leela.
Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinitaranam. By the divine grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the form of His divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, we're all, few, maybe 200-300 of us sitting here this morning, and we're taking part in this great mela of the holy names of Krishna. Padam Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. The greatest glory of human life is that one can, in Kali Yuga, take advantage of this simple process of chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. By some inconceivable Leela, Lord Krishna appears only once in a day of Brahma, and that just happened recently. We're still in this world where that just recently happened, and by his inconceivable mercy, all of us, after wandering through 8,400,000 different species of life, trying in so many ways to exploit his energies while evading his authority, we have somehow or other come in contact with a pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada has very patiently explained to all of us, very mercifully explained to all of us. While the whole world slept, Srila Prabhupada was working hard, choosing every single word of his purports very carefully, just to awaken us to any sense of love of Godhead. And those who take advantage of this great divine grace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the form of Srila Prabhupada, in particular in the form of his books, then they know how to chant the holy name of Krishna. Actually, chanting means hearing. It is predicated first and foremost upon hearing. If we look and see which of the verses of Bhagavad Gita that Srila Prabhupada spoke from more often, what do we find he spoke from? Who knows? Chapter 7, text 1 and 2. Yathagnasasi tachrinu. If you want to understand asamshayam samagram, without any doubt and fully, just hear. Hear. This is the first step. I have personal experience of this. I was born in Los Angeles, Hollywood actually, of all places. Sinful place. But it was mercy in an indirect way, because that's where Srila Prabhupada founded his temple. And some years later. And so I don't remember a time when I didn't see the devotees. And of course, being so close to the devotees, how you could not get the books. So we had the books, but we were too young to understand them. We just liked to look at the pictures. But somehow or other, I had a religious sentiment from youth, and I always wanted to be a monk. So anyway, as I grew older, I started reading so many things, and I actually read Bhagavad Gita many times, many different editions in English of Bhagavad Gita, but I couldn't understand them because the publishers didn't understand them. But when I read Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, then it was like someone turned on the lights. No stone left unturned. Every question answered, comprehensive knowledge that you could not argue with anything he said. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I thought in the beginning, what is this Bhagavad Gita as it is? Well, who does he think he is? There's so many Bhagavad Gita, why only his is as it is? But then I read it. And in the 50 years or so since that time, when I look at everything that Prabhupada says in any of his books, then I can go back and trace in the Acharya Tikas, from all the way back to Sridhar Swami. And Prabhupada is generally not saying anything new. Almost never. He just paraphrasing whatever his predecessors have said. That's what it means to be a transparent via media. And there's one exception I can think of. That's chapter 4. Chapter 4, text number 10. Who knows Bhagavad Gita? Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha. See, who's reading? No. Sita Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha Manmaya Mamu Prashritaha Bahovo Jnana Tapasa Putamad Bhavamagataha. That when we are freed from attachment, fear, and anger, Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha Manmaya Mamu Prashrita, and have taken shelter of Krishna, Bahavo Jnana Tapasa, and have become purified by the austerity of knowledge. The austerity of knowledge means to pick up that book and read it. That's the primary austerities. Secondary austerity, once you read the book, especially Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, what do you have to do? You're forced to make a decision, isn't it? He makes it so clear. You have to do something. What's your stand? Your move. That's the secondary austerities. Tertiary austerity of knowledge, you have to then take this to someone else and effect the same thing in them. It's very difficult, but this is what we're here for. While the Jabalaga Taname Tapana Vyapai, Tabalaga Kari Hari Seva, Madhya Yugin Kavine Kahaisa. Ki, as long as your body is not completely, gone, racked with pain, 81, and he's still singing like this. As long as you have a good sound mind and body, you have to use it in this way. Labdhva sudurlabhamidam bahusam bhavante. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he used to quote this verse, and he used to speak on this topic practically more than anything else, because everybody needs to hear this. We've come after how many species of life to the human form? And having come to the human form, we've also come in contact with a pure devotee. And we've also, everybody in this room has taken up this process. We just have to push a few more years, give this life to Krishna, take full shelter of the holy name in full knowledge. Because you cannot take shelter of the holy name if you do not have Sambandha Gyan, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. And without that Sambandha Gyan, your offenses will continue, and so your births. Bahojanma. You can continue for thousands of births chanting Hare Krishna happily and going through material existence again and again and again and again and again. But if we want prema, Krishna says, then you have to adopt this austerity of knowledge and become purified by that austerity. And then what happens? Last line. Then you get bhavam. Bhavamagata. Mad bhavamagata. Krishna says, then you get bhava bhakti for me. We're all beginning sadhana bhakti. That should go somewhere. It should go to bhava bhakti. That should go to prema bhakti. And then we can actually represent Srila Prabhupada, as Vyasaki Prabhu suggested. Then we will be a transparent via media ourselves, having that prema to distribute. Ananda Leela Maya Vigrahaya Hema Bhadivya Chavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Ananda Leela Maya Vigraha, this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is the personification of bliss in love of Godhead. And what's he doing? Hemabhadivya Chavi Sundaraya, this most beautiful form like molten gold, transcendental beauty, transcendental form. Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya. He's giving out Mahaprema Rasa, Ujjvala Rasa, the blazing fire of pure love of Godhead. This is all affected through chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But the offenders do not get this. Only those who are sincerely taking shelter, really working to chant sincerely Krishna's holy name, they get this. And then they carry on this legacy. What happens if we don't do that? That's another good thing to think about. Because we have inherited thousands of years of cumulative samskars from our predecessors. Thousands of years of attainment in yoga discipline and spiritual realization, cultural refinement, all these things we have inherited from our predecessors. It only takes one generation of neglect and you wipe it all out. It might as well have never existed. Yesterday we were in Daryaganj, and I'm looking at the people on the street and I'm thinking, every year it seems they look less and less Indian than they did the year before. Henna? Why? Because they're forfeiting the value of their human form of life. Be compassionate. Be compassionate to yourself first and foremost. Because you cannot give what you don't have. Say it. You cannot give what you don't have.
You cannot give what you don't have.
Say it again.
You cannot give what you don't have.
So we have to take this very sincerely within our hearts. Jai Gauranga Madhur Lila Jare Karne Praveshilo. And Narottam Das Thakur says. So in this way we have to hear submissively from Srila Prabhupada, then we can actually chant nicely. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. That is the meaning of Janma Sartha Kori Gauruparupakar. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was instructed, whom? Whom did he instruct like this? Janma Sartha Kori Gauruparupakar. To whom did he instruct this? All of us. Bharata Bhumite Hoilo Manusha Janmajar. Yes. So this is the thing. The Indians, everybody knows now, India is sitting on top of the world, practically speaking, Honehar. And you have this birthright. You have the samskars in your blood. Even no matter how many times people try to suppress it, the Indians are just 2 lakhs of people every day are going to visit Ramlala in Ayodhya now. There was a news report. The pujari is complaining, "Arey, what to do? This boy is only 5 years old. He has to take a nap in the afternoon." No. So, anyway, we have to take advantage of this process, become perfect ourselves, and then we can actually do some service for the world. And this is what Srila Prabhupada wants. This is how we repay the great jewel that we've been given in the form of this holy name of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Guru Garanga ki jai. Go Premanandi.
Thank you very much. His Grace Mukundat Prabhu ki. So I request host of our 10th Brahmotsav, His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj, to speak some words of wisdom and words of gratitude towards our esteemed guests. Thank you, Maharaj, for 5 to 7 minutes, and we'll begin question answer session. We have collected some slips for 3 of you. And Lokanath Maharaj, Vyaski Prabhu and Mukunda Prabhu will be answering your questions. You just send us on piece of paper. You can write more slips, and we'll continue question answer till 9:30. Then we'll have breakfast. And then Kirtan Mela will begin at 10 a.m., followed by lunch at 1 p.m. And Pushpa Abhishek start at 12:30 p.m. And we'll continue till 10 p.m. all Kirtan Mela non-stop spiritual hangama.
Haribo.
This is a very challenging thing to do for me to speak for 7 minutes. I speak for 70 minutes or 7 days. Hari. Prabhupada ki. I was there on 22nd Jan in Ayodhya Dham ki, when that Ram Lalla finally had his own beautiful, opulent residence. Otherwise, he was just residing in some juggi zhopdi. He was like a vanvasi for a long time. So, so when that temple was opened, I was, and of course we were very proud that the temple was open. Whole world was behind it. India had that spirit. They were also celebrating, like a Diwali-like festival. So we had our Hare Krishna devotees They joined Ayodhya celebration, temple opening celebration, by traveling there with Padayatra. And the deities of Sri Gaurnithai Ke, they were also there, of course, and we came in a procession. So that celebration of the temple opening in Ayodhya was like Ram and Lakshman appearing on Naumi some 100,000 years ago, more than 100, 1,000,000 years ago. This was called a repeat performance. On Ram Navami, not only Ram appeared, but Lakshman also appeared. So it's a Ram Navami and Lakshman Navami. So there was a great celebration. Then during manifest pastimes of Ram Lakshman, they were in exile and they finally returned to Ayodhya after 14 years, and there was a big grand welcome ceremony for Haribo, for Ram and Lakshman and Sita also. So the celebration that took place just last month on 22nd Jan was compared to these previous two celebrations. One on Ram Navami, Lakshman Navami, when they appeared 1,000,000 years ago. And then they had returned from exile, so there was another grand celebration. And this one was a third one. The unfortunate part was that Ram Lakshman, who appeared in Treta Yuga, and then Krishna Balaram appeared in end of Dwapar Yuga. They only appeared as Gauranga Nityanand at the beginning of the age of Kali. So they did not acknowledge or understood that. Most of them had no idea who these lords were in the chariot with his raised arms. And of course our kirtan, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare was most welcomed, enthusiastically welcomed, and they were all chanting and dancing with the holy name, but they had no idea who these two personalities in the chariot, this bullock cart Padayatra chariot, they were. Now that task of introducing Gaur Nithya, Gauranga, Nityananda was left up to Srila Prabhupada. Okay. Prabhupada as what? Chaladut and Devadut. Prabhupada becomes Devadut, messenger of Dev, Adi Dev, and he's in Jaladut. And Srila Prabhupada is Senapati Bhakta. He's Senapati Bhakta. Chief in commander of the Sankirtan army. But where is the army? Commander-in-chief is there with no army, so he is kind of going to be traveling around the world, 14 times around the world, and gather that army, put together that army. To introduce the world to Gauranga, Nityananda, this is the age of course, Kali, but this is the age of Gauranga. In the middle of this, or at the beginning of this age of Kali, which is a dark age, the period of 10,000 years is considered golden period. During this time, the golden avatar, and they're both golden, Gauranga as well as Nityananda, they're both golden. They are both Gaurangas. And they are being introduced to the world by Srila Prabhupada and now by his followers. Of course, so that temple was in Ayodhya opened. We were all happy. I also was thinking that Ram temple was open, but Prabhupada opened Ram temple in London, the capital of England. Those Britishers, they ruled India and they made Indians kind of slaves. But then Prabhupada travels to England and makes the Britishers to surrender unto Ram Lakshman Ke, and also surrender unto Srila Prabhupada. Really. And Prabhupada did. And Prabhupada opened another Ram Mandir in the capital of America, Washington, D.C. And Ram or Krishna or Gauranga or Jagannath Mandirs, more than 100 temples he had opened around the world. And not only that, part of the mission of Srila Prabhupada is to open temple in every town, every village, in every country on this planet. Not just 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 30, 100, 1,000, but as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prediction comes true, and that is what Srila Prabhupada at least inaugurated. We do not claim that holy name has reached every town and every village, not yet, but we have full confidence that it will certainly happen. It has to happen because it's a prediction of, it's not my prediction or it's not your prediction. It's prediction of Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose claims, one is a fact, Maya Dhikshena Prakriti Suyate So Chara Chara. All the wanderings of all the living entities are governed by the Lord, not just the wanderings of the living entities, but even the wandering of the even particles, atoms. So that Lord has predicted. And as the holy name reaches those towns and villages, and they take to chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I had been saying this, well, from Nam to Dham. Nam to Dham. All those who take the holy name or begin chanting Hare Krishna, soon they think of heading towards Mayapur Dham Ke. That holy name kind of brings them, holy name brings them back to home, back to Godhead. So Lord is extending Himself. Lord is becoming the holy name and reaching every town, every village, every soul in order to bring them back to home. Holy dhams in India. And what those folks are going to do also, those who are chanting, they are going to get together in every town, every village, and they're going to be building temples in those villages and towns. Yes or no? Yes. Hari Hari. So Srila Prabhupada Ki. So he's the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And he is empowered. Sakshad Haritvena Samasta Shastrai and all that. So, and we are so fortunate. We're kind of first generation now, second generation here. We are only disciples of Srila Prabhupada here, sitting in front of you. But you are grand disciples. There's a difference, right? We are just disciples. We are just disciples. But you are grand disciples. And also your number is grander. Prabhupada had only, 5,000 disciples. But now, grand disciples are hundreds and thousands of grand disciples. And this is just the beginning. And there will be more and more. There will be grand disciple, great grand, right? Say great grand disciple, great grand disciple, great dance. So, the world has, in a sense, bright future, as we heard. Param Vijayate, Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is behind the whole show of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Gauranga Nityananda. And just to go back to that point. So the Gauranga, Nityananda, they were there. They are Ram, Lakshman, they are Krishna, Balaram, but no one could recognize in Ayodhya. But as time goes on and on, Gauranga, Nityananda are going to be as popular, if not more popular than Ram, Lakshman, and Krishna and Balaram. And Srila Prabhupada and his followers are going to be making Gauranga Nityananda popular, world famous. Radha Govinda Eva Ki.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, especially for acknowledging us and using the term grand. So we are feeling proud today, being grand disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So please allow me to begin a wonderful question and answer session today, given by dear disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So we'll begin this session with His Grace Mukundata Prabhu. He'll answer first question.
Hare Krishna. Actually, the sheet of paper has 3 questions. I'll just take one, as per his instruction. How to make parents devotees if they are not? It's a big topic. It's always there. I have personal experience of this. Not exactly devotees, but my mother was not Hindu. what to speak of Krishna Bhakta. But I never made any attempt to preach to my mother. The first mistake that virtually everyone makes is you go home once you find out about Krishna consciousness, and you try to take the third austerity of knowledge, which is to share it before you've imbibed it perfectly yourself. And you very quickly find out why it's called an austerity. So this is a problem. I never made any attempt to preach to my parents. Never ever made any attempt. But I was always trying to engage them. This is the way to do it. You cannot preach to somebody, especially parents. They never listen to the children. Probably the parents listen to the children even less than the children listen to the parents. But anyway, I went there and I took care of my mother in her final years for 4 or 5 years. Actually, I had been living at Govardhan Hill in Vrindavan for some time, about 20 years ago. And I just decided to visit my mother for about 2 weeks. Once I got there, she had a massive stroke and a heart attack, and she was comatose. And the doctor said she has hours only to live, maybe days. So do what you have to do now. So, what could we do? Somehow or other, she came out of her coma, and I was sitting with her every day for about 9 months in the hospital. Just letting her hear Srila Prabhupada, giving Charanamritam, whatever I could do to engage her, that I was doing. And she didn't know if it was day or night. She had to learn how to walk all over again. She had a 3-day memory span. A really, really tough situation. And then finally they released her from hospital, but what to do? Who's going to take care of her? She's invalid. So I put my life on hold. And I was very busy in those days, but this is the person who's given me my birth. You have to take care of them. And so I took care of my mother as best as I could for about 4 or 5 years. And it was an austerity that nearly killed me, and I'm not exaggerating. Nearly killed me. So difficult, because not only it's difficult to take care of an older person anytime, but then there's family politics and estate issues, and you all know how that works. So, it was difficult. But in the last year, about a year before she died, she told me, you know what? I just realized that I'm more attached now to whatever you're cooking for me than anything I ever used to eat. मतलब कि इसका अंतःकरण शुद्ध हो जाए ना. So she's not going to take birth in a place where there's no prasadam available. That I know. And by the time she left this world, she was wearing the Tulsi neck beads, and she had tilak, Gaudiya Vaishnava. Last thing she took, foodstuffs, before she left the world was a sandesh from the Mangalarti offering of Rukmini Dwarkadish in Los Angeles. And we put Tulsi on her tongue, and we were singing, my wife and I were sitting in the hospital for 3 days straight, Akhanda Kirtan, taking shifts. Akhanda Kirtan, 72 hours chanting Kirtan. All the nurses said this room has a holy atmosphere. And Shalagram Sheila was in her proximity, and we sprinkled Braj Kiraj all over. And I'm sure she didn't go down. Wherever she went, it was not down. So she may or may not become a devotee. I didn't have such high expectations, but I never imagined that she could leave so peacefully and happily as she did. So we don't necessarily try to make our parents devotees, but we try to engage them, and then they will make advancement. That's guaranteed. Mahaprasade govinde nama brahmani vaishnave ityadi, The prasadam especially, do not underestimate the potency of prasadam. I've seen it happen too many times. Direct evidence. Pratyaksha. So that's my answer to this question. Don't try to force anybody, because love cannot be forced. When they see your example, when they appreciate what you have become, then they will not automatically, they will take interest. Especially when they're in their own hour of need. When all their other avenues have been exhausted, Krishna will do that to all of us. It's just a matter of time. So when they get in a hard spot, then they will think, maybe I should chant Hare Krishna like my son or like my daughter. And then that's, I think, the best we can hope for. And unless you have really pious parents, maybe, then you can maybe try something else. I can only speak from my own experience. That's what it is. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Yes. He has next question. Yes, thank you.
Hare Krishna. So here's a very nice question. What is the relationship between two souls? Like, for example, there's a relationship between guru and disciple, between husband and wife, between father and son, between devotees. But what is this relation between two souls? Very good question. So listen carefully to the answer. Jiver Sarup Hoy, Krishna Nityadas. So the eternal relationship between two souls is that we're always Krishna, Nitya Krishna Das. We're always a servant of Krishna. Now, these other relationships between husband and wife is based on bodily platform. Father and son, bodily platform. Between devotees, also based on bodily platform, because male devotee doesn't have intimate connection with female devotees. And also between guru and disciple. When the guru leaves, then there's no relationship. So that's also based on the body. But what makes all these relationships successful? When both parties realize we're Nitya Krishna Das. Then father and son, their relationship is spiritual because they're both in the mood of Nitya Krishna Das. Between husband and wife, the relationship is spiritual because they're both in the mood of Nitya Krishna Das. Same as with between devotees, we're always Nitya Krishna Das, and the same with guru and disciple. Everyone has to be thinking they're Nitya Krishna Das. And what does it mean to say, I am Nitya Krishna Das? It's not just a slogan, oh, I'm Nitya Krishna Das. What is the deep meaning? And the deep meaning is this. Listen carefully. That I am Das, 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 Anudas. I'm the servant of the servant of the servant. This was the mood of Srila Prabhupada. His relationship with us was in the platform of Nitya Krishna Das, and he was our servant, and we were his servant. And that's why it was so successful. In the beginning, when Prabhupada was just starting the movement, and where there weren't so many, there was just one or two temples, and only one bathroom in the morning, devotees would get in line to use the bathroom. Prabhupada would also get in line. Because he was Nitya Krishna Das. He was a servant of the servant. He didn't take priority. And then they said, but Swamiji, you should go first. So in this way, indirectly, Prabhupada was teaching by his humility. He never stated, I am Acharya, or I am this, or I'm that, because he followed what Lord Chaitanya said. Kiba vipra, kiba nyasi, shudra kene noi. I am not a brahmana. I'm not a sannyasi. I'm just Nitya Krishna Das. Because that's all external. For example, we may have, like the Pandavas, let's say, they're following Kshatriya Dharma. So there's many gentlemen who follow Kshatriya Dharma. But if at the end of their life they're attached to their wife or their daughters, then they may take birth as a lady. And then there's no more Kshatriya Dharma. It's now Stri Dharma. If you tell a Kshatriya, oh, you're following Stri Dharma, he'll be very offended. But in his next life, he takes a woman's body, now he's following Stri Dharma. So when Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, give up all these dharmas, Prabhupada explains why we give up all these dharmas, because they're all temporary. They're all based on the body. And Krishna is giving transcendental knowledge. And Prabhupada in the purport to chapter 18, shloka 66, he says, all throughout the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling Arjuna to follow the Dharma. And now in this shloka, he's saying, give up those dharmas. Because we have to get off the bodily platform, especially at the end of our life. And when you're just about to go into battle, this could be the end of our life. Who knows? In a war, if you're going to survive. So Prabhupada explained, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, give up all these dharmas that are there because they're temporary. And in one class, he went even deeper. He said they're not only temporary dharmas, they're concocted dharmas. Concocted based upon what body you happen to be in. But we're not the body. That's the first teaching. We're Nitya Krishna Das. And so all our relationships become perfect when two souls are always relating as Nitya Krishna Das. And how do we see that? In their behavior. Das, 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 anudas. Hare Krishna. And everyone else is Prabhu. Everyone else is Prabhu. It's not that I'm the Prabhu, I'm the Das. Everyone else is Prabhu. Hare Krishna. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you very much, Vyasdev Prabhu. So over to Mukundata Prabhu for next question. Thank you. Maharaj prefers you two answers.
Hare Krishna. How can we explain change in Srila Prabhupada's books? I always get the tough ones. Well, we don't have to explain. The BBT has to explain. Ritviks say that they don't need to be changed as it's written by Krishna through Srila Prabhupada. Actually, I can tell you a story about this. This is told to me by Rameshwar Prabhu, my godbrother. He was sitting in 1976 in New York City, Manhattan skyscraper temple. They invited a religion editor of the New York Times. That's pretty much in those days the biggest, newspaper in the world. And he was speaking with her a little bit before they went in to interview Prabhupada, and he could understand this woman is very skeptical. So he was very careful about how to phrase things, and he was being very careful with her. And so then when the interview started, the first question this lady asked Srila Prabhupada, how do you know what to write in your books? And Rameshwar Prabhu said he was feeling very nervous at this question. Prabhupada answered immediately, Krishna tells me what to write. And so Rameshwar is thinking, I have to interject here and explain that, there's Paramatma within everyone's heart, and Paramatma supplies intelligence, and then the devotee is guided and knows what to say. And Prabhupada was very angry. He said Prabhupada slammed his hand down hard on the desk and said, no, it's not like that. Krishna directly tells me what to say. The entire atmosphere of the room changed immediately. And this woman's demeanor changed absolutely from that point on. She immediately, for the rest of the interview, she was extremely respectful. Everyone in the whole room was just stunned to hear this. Now, how can someone say such a thing? But Prabhupada said that. Because it's true. Because it's true. And you can accept it or you don't have to accept it. But Prabhupada said this. You have to respect that. You have no argument. So it just immediately changed the entire environment. The whole room was galvanized in a completely grave mood from that point on. And he told me this. So, changing Srila Prabhupada's books, oh my God, please do it carefully if you're going to do it. Because Prabhupada did say that, there are certain things that, English, tadvag visargo janatagha viplavo ityadi, that, his mother tongue is not English. He said that there may be some things, but be so careful. And he criticized also. He said, if there one word is different, you'll all be confused. So he was extremely careful about it himself, and he expected us certainly. Another thing is that I was discussing this at one point because I was in the BBT as well. So with Jayadvaita Swami, and he recognized that there has to be some cutoff point because the nature of editing is subjective. You know, who's going to say when it's good now? Who's going to judge that? Everybody has his own sense. So there has to be some end in sight. That must be recognized. So that much I can say about this. Otherwise, better to leave it to the BBT officers to explain. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Vyaski Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna. So, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu, and he says, eternal we are, the part and parcel of Krishna, but Dushtaman, because of our mind, we may not be able to totally chant and serve the Lord. So how can we be able to favorably take to Sri Guru and Gauranga's service? So the mind is always getting in the way. This is the thing. So the question is how to overcome the mind and to realize that we're Nitya Krishna Das. And the answer is given in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, shloka 35. Because previous to that, Krishna had in shloka 34, 32, 33, 34, Krishna told Arjuna that in the yoga process you have to control your mind. And then Arjuna says, control my mind? Krishna, it's easier for me to control the wind than it is to control my mind. How many people agree with Arjuna? But Krishna didn't agree. In this chapter 6, shloka number 35, Krishna says, undoubtedly it's not easy to control the mind, but it can be done. And he explains how it can be done. By suitable practice and by detachment. Detachment and suitable practice. So now in the purport, Prabhupada explains what is the suitable practice. How many people have studied the purport for chapter 6, shloka 35 in the Bhagavad Gita? Then you should know the answer, how to control the mind. Because Prabhupada says there that you control the mind by Shravanam. Not once is Kirtanam mentioned, only Shravanam. You have to hear, but not hear just one time. You have to hear regularly. And regularly doesn't mean every week. You have to hear constantly. And constantly doesn't mean every day. You have to hear every hour. And when you hear every hour, you understand the tattva. And that's called smaranam. Once you understand what you hear, and you can remember it and live it, that's smaranam. So by shravanam, we have to learn to hear what Srila Prabhupada is speaking. And this is what Srila Prabhupada told us about hearing. He said, all you have to do is think about one shloka a day. So in this one morning, you choose a shloka. You read that shloka, you read the Sanskrit, you read the word-for-word meanings and the English transliteration or Hindi transliteration. You read the purport, and you think about it all day. One shloka only. You think about that all day. So that's called hearing. Prabhupada said that when we read his books, we're hearing because he recited into the recording machine. And it was transcribed. So we're hearing because it was recorded. We're hearing Prabhupada's words by using our eyes. On the spiritual platform, It's explained that Krishna, he can use any of his senses for any other function. He can eat with his eyes. That's how he eats prasadam. He just looks at it. So similarly, we hear with our eyes by reading Prabhupada's books, because this is what Prabhupada spoke, was recorded. So this is Shravanam. And then the next day, you go to the next shloka, and you just think about that shloka all day. And if you do one shloka a day of the Bhagavad Gita, in 2 years you become an expert in Bhagavad Gita. You can defeat anybody. So this is the secret of success. This is what Prabhupada called it, the secret of success. So I would like to add something else to what Prabhupada just taught us, and that is, at the end of each day, you have a little chat with Krishna. Just in your heart, in a quiet moment. My dear Lord Krishna, today I tried to be Krishna conscious. I tried to remember the teachings and try to live the teachings. But I wasn't perfect. I know I can do better. So tomorrow, I will do better. And then tomorrow, the end of the day, you say the same thing. Today I tried to be perfect, but I know I can do better. Tomorrow I will do better. Every day you say this to Krishna. Tomorrow I'll do better. And every day you do a little better and a little better. And by this way, one day you become fully Krishna conscious. It just takes one day to be fully Krishna conscious. You just forget about my whole life. Just focus on one day. That's achievable. That's attainable. And when you become fully Krishna conscious on that one day, you say to Krishna, my dear Lord Krishna, today I was fully Krishna conscious, but I know I can still do better. Tomorrow I will do even better. And in this way you remain fully Krishna conscious the rest of your life. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu. So there's many wonderful questions sent by all devotees, but we have to respect time. So we'll take last final question to be answered by Mukundata Prabhu. Then we'll continue with rest of the program. Thank you.
How can we overcome the problem of false ego? We all know. Everybody has their false ego. It's a big deal. Sometimes people kill over false ego, isn't it? If you brought shame to my family, I'm going to kill you, even if you're my daughter. It happens. We read the news. False ego. This is actually even behind the mind. If you think it's hard to control the mind, work on the false ego. So fortunately, the answer to this question is very simple, very easy also. Easy in the sense that it's simple. We chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That chanting is meant to eliminate our attachment to the false ego. In the Bhagavatam Chatushloki, it's described, everybody has a shadow. And the problem is that we think the shadow is ourself, right? When sometimes children, when they first see their shadow, they get scared because it's doing everything they're doing. So, if I want to move my arm, the shadow also moves. If I make a decision to move in this way, the shadow is also everything. So it's very easy to misidentify with our shadow. But the shadow and the body are two different things. And in exactly the same way, this false ego, you may think that it's me, but it's not. It's just your shadow. And you have to detach. And the way to detach is by purifying the heart, and that we do by Cheto Darpana Marajanam, just by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hote, sab kuch shuddha ho jaye. You have to be careful. Hare Krishna.
So thank you very much, Mukundata Prabhu, Vyaski Prabhu, Sundar Chaitanya Maharaj, Radhe Shaman Maharaj, for kindly being here to bless all of us, to encourage us, not only to celebrate 10th Brahmotsav, but look forward for 20th, 30th, 40th, 50th. And yesterday Prabhu was telling we'll have another festival when we'll have 108th Brahmotsav of this temple. So I request host of this program, Maharaj, to kindly hand out some token of gift to our esteemed guest with full of love and affection. No, we have few more things, but one at a time. Start with Vyaski Prabhu first, please. Haribol! दो निकाल दो और भी बहुत सीनियर वरिष्ठ भक्त आने थे. We were expecting them and we are missing their association due to their bad health. Especially we are missing the association and presence of His Grace Shruta Kirti Prabhu and Garga Muni Prabhu. They were expected to arrive, but there was some bad virus in Vrindavan, so we are missing them. Yes. तो अभी कुछ महत्वपूर्ण सूचनाएं हैं जो राधा कुंड प्रभु करेंगे और उसके उपरांत सबके लिए ब्रेकफास्ट प्रसाद है. प्रसादम ब्रेकफास्ट में क्योंकि पिछले 5 दिन से आप पनीर 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 खाए जा रहे हो, तो वी हैव पर्पसली केप्ट लाइट ब्रेकफास्ट टुडे टू आप जागते रहें आज पूरा कीर्तन में. लेकिन वी हैव वेरी हैवी एंड ओपुलेंट लंच, डोंट वरी. And then we'll have very nice dinner प्रसादम also. तो आप यहाँ पे बने रहिए सुबह 10 से रात के 10 बजे तक.
आप जाएंगे. हरे कृष्णा. तो यहाँ पे कई सारे भक्त लोग आए हैं चंडीगढ़ से और मेरठ से, NCR से, ग्रेटर नोएडा से. सभी भक्तों का हार्दिक स्वागत है. हरे वाह. और साथ ही साथ अभी जैसे प्रभु जी ने बताया, अभी आप सभी के लिए पीछे पार्क में प्रसाद है. और प्रसादम के बाद जितने भी परम पूज्य लोकनाथ स्वामी महाराज जी के शिष्य हैं उनके लिए इस हॉल के नीचे, पहले हम ऊपर बोले थे सुधर्मा हॉल में, वेन्यू चेंज हुआ है, ध्यान रखिए. इस हॉल के नीचे संस्कार भवन है, वहाँ पे सभी के लिए डिसाइपल गैदरिंग होगा. जितने भी महाराज जी के शिष्य हैं और होने वाले शिष्य, राइट आफ्टर प्रसाद पाते ही आप इधर उधर मत जाइए प्लीज़. आप सभी से निवेदन है नीचे हॉल में आइए, वहाँ पे महाराज जी स्वयं उपस्थित रहेंगे और महाराज जी हम सभी को मार्गदर्शन